matters and the uncensored truth. It's time for the Mr. Chris Show Underground. News and commentary.
The countdown has begun. And no, this is not a space launch or anything like that, but the countdown has begun. We are just on the eve of 1 week before the general election in the United States for the President of the United States. And I believe we have DiamonDan on the line, correct? Are you on yet?
That's correct, Mr. Chris. Here I am.
Great. Excellent to hear you. Okay. Well, like I said, the countdown has begun. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of things just happened. In fact, just earlier today, I believe, let's see, that would be your time. I guess it was your time sometime in the evening, I believe, we had the vote, right, for Amy Coney Barrett. How did that turn out?
Yeah, that was about 45 minutes ago or so, and actually you texted me, and you said, hey, check out the vote, and, nothing on my phone, nothing on news media, nothing anywhere about, hey, the vote's about to take place, no alerts of any kind. I was, of course, busy doing something. So when you texted me, I went ahead and got on C-SPAN, and boom, there it was, a live stream. They were just down to the final vote, and it came out 52 to 48 to confirm her. So she is confirmed.
Wow. So, I actually took a look at some offerings and from other media sources, and this was prior to the vote. And the consensus there was, wow, this is forever going to change the Supreme Court. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, this is this and that. And it's like, I was thinking, well, Ginsburg was the complete diametrically opposed on, I believe, all topics from Barrett. Yet that was okay. However, now when you have somebody that's not of that same mindset, it's not okay. So who's judging what's okay and what isn't okay?
Well, of course, yeah. If anything that doesn't go the left's way, we've seen this over and over again with everything from justices to the electoral college. Everything that does not go their way, they try to change it. And the thing that the left is really good at trying to do is change the rules of the game in mid-game. Mm-hmm. And it's really getting old, and it's really getting annoying, and, it's just a bunch of babies having a tantrum, and I think the American people are getting sick of it. I know I am.
Yeah. No, I fully understand that. And I just think that it's just really ironic when you read those kind of things, because all of the writings take it from the first standpoint of this is a bad thing, so they don't say the words this is a bad thing, but they line it up persuasively to indicate to the sheeple that's reading it or hearing it, it's like, oh, this must be a bad thing. So, that's the thing that I get a kick out of, because, you had writers back in the day, I believe it was Rudolf Hess who wrote a lot of Hitler's speeches. I don't think Hitler actually wrote any of them. He just delivered them. But anyway, you have people that were experts at making speeches, and they've learned from that. And these people have taken it to the next level and, of course, put it out through all the mainstream and such. And they know exactly how to word things, so they're not saying things like give me a case in point, they'll say something like, well, I can't say this person is a complete drunkard, but they just said it, right?
Sure. Right. Yeah, it's propaganda at its finest, and they've definitely learned from, the fascists of the past, the dictators of the past, the communists, the Marxists, the Leninists.
Right.
It's right out of the playbook, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore, Mr. Chris. It used to be something that they would vehemently deny. They would, dance around the subject, but they're not even trying to hide it anymore is the thing. I mean, this socialism is right on the ticket forefront, and Biden has even said that there'd be a place for Bernie Sanders on his cabinet if that would ever happen.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, they've changed their tactic yet again, and they're just admitting it.
Yeah, and it comes down to also redefinition. You know, you just define things differently, how you want to present it. You know, like getting rid of old people is considered, you know, mercy. You know, there's all sorts of thoughts. I mean, look at the old sci-fi like Logan's Run. You know, it's like, oh, that's really futuristic sci-fi when it was made and stuff, but. You know, it depends on how you present it to people, because in that movie, of course, everybody's cheering I think they called it the ascension of the people when they were like vaporized and stuff in the movie.
Sure.
But it's like, okay, no, you're killing them, but you make everybody seem like, oh yeah, no, they're ascending. Wow, this is really good stuff.
Sure. I believe there was an old Star Trek original series episode like that as well, if I remember back. You're the expert on that, though.
Yes, there was, and the people going to the chambers because of I think that's when you're speaking of, I believe it's called The Taste of Armageddon, where the two planets were warring for, I don't know, how many thousands of years to resolve things. They just have chambers, and they have this simulation, and then you just report and die, and you gladly do it.
Yeah. So, of course, Kirk shows up and, you know, blasts it all to hell and says, you can't do it this way, and, you know,
right.
They're all saved.
But the point is that it was a system to where just people got used to the fact that, yeah, you know, that's the way it is. You know, you just go there, you die, and it's an okay thing to do, and, you know, that's it. So I think it depends on how you sell it to the sheeple, you know, basically.
Yeah, sure. Well, we're seeing a lot of that these days.
We are. So back to Barrett. So then she has the votes, so she's in. She just basically has to be sworn in, which I believe is Clarence Thomas is supposedly going to swear her in. I don't know if that happens like the same day, or I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, I'm not either. I don't know what the timeline is, but we just started a new week, so, you know, probably be within the next day or so.
Yeah, which...
Now, this is going to play favor in such an event that if, which, you know, undoubtedly, the Biden camp is going to go to court. They've got 600 lawyers standing by to contest the outcome of the election next week.
Right.
So, you know, this is definitely going to benefit the conservatives having her sworn in and on the Supreme Court. But that's just because she is going to rule by rule of law, by, you know, follow the Constitution. So, this is why they fought so hard to deny this and to stall that right there, because this is just another nail in their coffin when they try their madness next week. Things you and I can't even think of, they're going to attempt after. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there, and I know you spoke of this last time on your other show with Estes K. Brown, but I'm in complete agreement. I believe, just from what I see, my own personal boots on the ground aspect, that the size of the rallies, the size of the lines, this president is sparing no expense, no time. He is going everywhere. He's hitting all the states, and it's just amazing. But I'm going to put it out there that it's going to be a landslide, the likes of which we've never seen. It's going to make Reagan's second term landslide look like a joke. So I think it's really the only way we're going to have a chance is that if it's such a landslide, so overwhelming that they can't even contest it, even the votes that haven't been counted, the mail-in votes that are still out there, won't matter anyway. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going ahead and predict that now.
Well, I hope that you are correct. I do have to say, however, that Estes did warn me off mic of a possible outcome that supposedly was not quite a prediction, but you almost have to interpret one of his readings into John Titor's the supposed time traveler, and a lot of things he's said, has come to pass here in a different way recently with all of what's been going on. However, there is a possible outcome where there could be an issue with that prediction. But I'm just not trying to jinx it or anything. I'm just saying that he did let me know about that, and I kind of think, along with you, at least at the moment, I don't see any other outcome but a landslide. I mean, if you look at the news, for instance, I don't know if you're familiar with, there's a personality known as Cardi B, and I guess she went and posted a whole bunch of information to her Twitter, and there was apparently Instagram posting.
Is she a rapper or something, some kind of music rapper?
Right. So she posts, Trump supporters are everywhere, swarming LA with big trucks. I'm paraphrasing here. Look how many people, I'm paraphrasing again, I'm scared now, we're going to get jumped, I really feel like we're going to get jumped, oh my gosh, she screams, blah, blah, blah. So apparently in LA, like downtown LA and over in Beverly Hills and such, there's been these rallies of these trucks coming through with, there's signs, Women for Trump, Trump 2020, there's all these people. They're not causing any issues, unlike the Antifa people and such. They're just driving through, displaying their flags, and just showing their support and solidarity. I think that's pretty unusual. I have not heard of that in the 2016 election, and I think this says something, because the map that we were speaking about earlier that shows a lot of red in California, at least, I think starts to say something about the general makeup of how the election's going to turn out.
Sure. Now, you have to remember, back 4 years ago, 2016, Trump was, basically an unknown. He was a celebrity. He was an actor, millionaire. Everyone knew Donald Trump, but we didn't know what he was going to do. Now, he made a lot of promises. He made a lot of gestures and laid out a plan, but that's what politicians do all the time. They've done for 200 years. But he followed through, and he started coming through with all of his plans. He's got 200 miles of border wall built. The economy is soaring. He's brought jobs back to the country. He's brought black and Latino jobs. He's got people hired. He's got people making more money than ever before. He's got tax cuts. So people, unless you're hiding under a rock and you don't bother to look at your paycheck and wonder why you're getting more money in your bank account. People, boots on the ground, people who are doing this, the work every day, they're looking at this and going, wow, okay, well, here's Donald Trump, 4 more years of this, and my 401k is going to keep going up. But, Biden, the guy was in there for, 8 years with Obama, and I don't know what he did for the 40 some odd years prior to that he was in government, but years, he sure doesn't have a lot to show for it. So I think people are looking at results, and this is why we're seeing the enormous crowds that we're seeing now.
And since you mentioned that too about Biden and Obama, well, everybody forgets. I know you didn't watch the debate, and I know you said that the first one made you pretty angry, and this one probably make you probably equally angry. But anyway, I actually did look at it, and Biden comes up and says, "Oh, what about for these people? What about for those people?" Well, hello. Biden and Obama, you guys were in office for 8 years. Why didn't you fix all the racial injustice? Why didn't you fix all the problems? When you had 8 years and you had Obama as president, why didn't he fix it all? What are you complaining about things now? Did things all of a sudden change in 2016? Boom, it's like now there's just this huge injustice that we got to fix? Really?
Yeah. Well, this has been done for forever. They did the same thing after Clinton. They pushed all that onto Bush and said it's his fault. I remember literally them saying that Hurricane Katrina was George Bush's fault. I mean, seriously, somebody said that with a straight face.
Right.
And I mean, this is it's plain madness, and it's pure politics. And you know what? People aren't buying it anymore. The American people are sick of this.
Right.
I'm sick of this, Mr. Chris. I am sick and tired of all of this negative, whining BS that's going on. And, I'm going to vote it out. That's what I'm going to do, because we the people, we matter. And that's what I'm going to do is cast my vote and put an end to this.
Right.
And I want all of you, everyone listening, to do the same thing.
Yeah. And I would love to be able to cast my vote too, and of course you know that I can't. I'm not even in the country, but anyway, I totally hear you. And the thing I find that is also kind of interesting is you have a lot of the mainstream media pushing things like the other day somebody made it a point to tell me that there's these ads going around apparently, and it says vote for your life or something like that, and it's like, so in one way, it's like I know why they're putting it out there, because it's meant to get all the people who are trying to get Biden into office to get energized. On the other hand, though, it's really kind of foretelling the future, because vote for your life, because there's a lot of people, including Biden, Clinton, and all these people that are going to be going down here as soon as Trump gets back in. What started with all these investigations and stuff is not complete as of yet. We haven't seen the arrests yet. But all that stuff is going to be carried out in the future here, not too long, not too distant future. And yeah, they really do need to vote for their lives, because they're about to lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is why we're seeing the intensity in which they're fighting. It's all or nothing at this point. They know they've got them on everything.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that's going on with children. You name it. The Biden laptop. That is indicating all kinds of wrongdoing.
Right.
So yeah, they're fighting with. They know they're going down.
Yeah, and that laptop has all kinds of things on it. I mean, we've just covered a teeny bit of it, and there's a lot of information coming out. Obviously, we haven't actually seen the laptops ourselves, but the information I'm getting, though, is chock full of just, besides corruption, it's just pure evil. But I wanted to wrap up what I was saying about this incident here in L.A. where this Cardi B was making a point of how terrible it is and how bad, and look at these people. Well, it turns out that there was a car that had her husband in it, and supposedly he was pointing a gun of some kind at Trump supporters, right? The Beverly Hills Police Department looked into it, and turns out that they arrested an individual in his vehicle for having a concealed weapon, carrying a loaded firearm in public. So there was something to at least that story, which okay, look at who's doing the violence. Look at who's bringing the guns to these things. It's not the Trump people, it's the other side. And on top of that, the irony is that she actively campaigned for Joe Biden. Recently, she threw a lavish birthday party in Las Vegas, and she posted images with lots of other people on Instagram showing her and a bunch of other people all crowded together in this party environment. In video, you can see there's at least 100 people there, 3 or 4 masks around the hundreds of people, and that's it. So these are the same people pushing the masks, and Joe Biden standing up there at the debate. If everybody just uses this, everything is all going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yet his vocal supporters don't even do that. So kind of tells you something about the big picture, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this whole thing, we've talked about it in prior episodes, that it's just a plandemic. It's just another tool to use as we got into the election. The left doesn't mind throwing the entire country under the bus, shutting down our businesses, shutting down our places of worship, locking us in our homes, making us wear face coverings,
right,
and marching to the beat of their drum. They don't mind doing all of that to further their agenda, and it's getting so obvious that, and again, I'm saying it, I'm sick of it, you're sick of it, the American people are sick of it, and we need to go to the frickin' polls, people, and get rid of these people who are running our lives.
Right. Well, I think to actually maybe state a little more succinctly what the whole point of this vote is. By Trump being reelected, basically this allows him to continue the work that he's been doing and is in progress, and we've already seen the fruits of, to continue to see the fruits of all this labor, and also to, as I've heard I'm going to use the term drain the swamp, because he's already been draining the swamp, but it cannot be completed at this point until the second term. And these people know that.
Far greater than anybody ever thought. I mean, this is going back decades of swamp that they're digging into and finding.
So you mentioned the laptop, and we've talked about it before, and of course the other side is saying, oh no, that's a fake thing, the Russians and the Chinese put it together. And let me get this straight. The Russians and the Chinese got a person who looks, acts, speaks, and writes like Hunter Biden. He goes to a shop to deliver a laptop with all this information that is damaging to them for the purpose of what? It's so stupid. But let me just tie in with it here, and that is there's an ex-associate I think you've heard about, Bobolinsky, which came out with a press release. I believe it was right before the second debate.
Correct.
Last week, right?
And Trump had him as his guest at the debate, I believe.
Okay. I did not know that, but okay. I just saw that he had a little 5-minute press conference, and he's talking about how he has to speak up because, what he sees is just wrong, very wrong. And he has the corroborating evidence on his devices that I believe he turned over to the FBI right after the press conference, or at least that's what he said he was doing.
Yeah. Well, and then it turns out the FBI was sitting on it for almost 2 years. So, I mean, it goes back to the corruption in the FBI, the CIA, the swamp.
Right.
The swamp goes deep, man.
So it's kind of funny because up to this point, this person being an ex-business partner was seen as like, oh, okay person by the mainstream media. Ever since this, it's like, oh, that guy, oh, he's the worst, and oh, you can't trust him, and it's really kind of ironic. You cannot have enough evidence. Well, obviously the mainstream media is stacking this, however they want, but it's really ironic. Videos pop up. It used to be, you got to have evidence and stuff. Now it's like videos are fake, audio's fake, emails are fake, the people's testimony are fake. I mean, what is actually real anymore?
Sure. Well, look at what they did with Judge Kavanaugh. I mean, they went back and dug through his yearbooks from, his high school days and college days. They fabricated all kinds of crap on him. They brought in and paid off witnesses to testify, and all fake, completely fake.
Yeah.
And one thing that the left is really, really good at doing, and we've spoken about this before, but it's blatantly obvious. Whenever the left accuses the right or anybody of doing something, they say you're doing this. You know what? It always ends up, it's exactly what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, Hillary is absolutely an expert at that. Everything that she accuses everybody else of doing, she's doing herself.
Yeah. It's actually called projection.
Yep. And it's a well-known leftist tactic, Marxist, fascist, and it's just like Antifa saying they're anti-fascists, yet they're the biggest fascists you've ever run across. So,
right. And speaking of that, there's actually groups of Antifa in Bellevue, Washington. I believe it was yesterday, perhaps. We're going through streets and warning people, and these are people threatening people basically of what's going to happen. So I don't see any way around in the United States where you are that there's not going to be violence after the outcome of the election, because these people have already talked about it, and I'm pretty sure they're going to go all out.
Yeah, my associate of mine that we'll just call him CE, those are his initials, but he's one of my contacts. He has said over and over again that there will be blood, and I'm afraid he's right, because it is ramping up to that kind of an outcome. Last time we had protests, we had marches, we had unprecedented things for 4 years ago. Well, they're going to have to up that this time, and I think we're going to see violence, we're going to see blood shed. I don't know, but it's scary times, and we have to be prepared for it.
Yeah, I hear you, and I've heard the same thing, and I think it only makes sense, because if these mobs are going through neighborhoods and throwing Molotov cocktails into residences to kill people and stuff, if whoever is armed is going to retaliate, and I think you're going to see the mobs put down, and that's something that they're just pawns. These mobs are pawns for the bigger controllers that are operating this. But hopefully things will go by peacefully. But it just doesn't seem like it from this standpoint. But
we have to stand together and united, or we will lose this country. We'll lose our freedom. We'll lose this, republic as we know it. If the people are afraid, which the left has propagated that fear by prosecuting the St. Louis couple who defended their property, even though there's laws in the state that allow that. If we're not out there defending ourselves, we will die. And they will paint the protesters and the mob as the good people, and they'll paint the patriots who are defending and dying, if not, as the evil bad ones.
And I should just say, with those St. Louis couple, they defended their property without bloodshed because they used the weapons accordingly. They showed force. They showed that if you take the next step, they will have to fire, and they didn't. They worked under, complete control, and the mob went away. And although they damaged some property of theirs, but still, the point is that they did the right thing, and in order to secure their rights and their freedom.
Yeah, correct. So.
And before we're done, I just wanted to get a couple shout-outs. You have somebody in particular, DiamonDan?
Yeah, a longtime patriot, somebody that sends me a lot of good information. 3D, that's their name, and always sending me great stuff.
Wow, fantastic. And there was actually a little story about Ice Cube, by the way, how he was supporting Trump. It turns out he said he's just supporting anybody that has this black interests at heart and such. But at first they were giving him all kinds of issues. Oh, you support Trump, and I think they still are. Then you're a bad person and stuff. And I'd like to just shout out to another patriot named Chrissy, who actually made a joke and said, "Wow, it was a bad day, because he had hit that song, didn't have to use my AK, was a good day." So I thought it was kind of funny. But anyway, and then the other is, you remember back in the day when we were still, at least when we both were in the California area back then, but there was a personality, Wally George. He had a radio and a TV show.
Sure.
So I just want to, that guy, he actually inspired me for things based on what he did and showing the truth and putting it out there and just saying it how it was. And I think we all need to do that.
Right on.
So,
and just a shout out to number 11 too. Just
Yes, hexadecimal 11. Let me just quickly explain that if you look up the hexadecimal 11, it equates to a decimal 17. 17, if you look up in the alphabet, you'll find the 17th character, and I think you'll know what we mean. So until next time, DiamonDan, hopefully we can do this again.
Right on, Mr. Chris. Godspeed. We'll see you at the polls.
Sounds great. This has been the Mr. Chris Show, Underground News and Commentary.